G'day folks, we're in Victoria. We're travelling across from the western side of Victoria through to the eastern side. We've just done an overnight spot here at Mount Terek National Park. It's between Echuca and Bendigo. Just a free camp. Beautiful spot. A national park. 1860 Burke and Wills came through here. So it's a nice little free camp spot. Quiet. Beautiful white cypress pine trees, lots of birds. So if you're ever contemplating it, think about it. It's near Mediamo, between Echuca and Bendigo. So us two Aussies, we're travelling across Victoria. I'm in Rochester, central Victoria. These old Victorian towns are magnificent with their pubs and their parks. And then the latest thing in these towns is this artwork on the silos. You'll see this a lot in Victoria and in South Australia, and it's worth taking the time to look at some incredible artwork here at the railway line in Rochester between Echuca and Bendigo. How's this one here? This is the duck-billed platypus. Unfortunately, it's in the shadow. And the Campaspe River flooded here in Rochester in October 2022, and the locals are still cleaning up. It's quite a drama, but you should get towns like this and support them. But what an amazing piece of artwork. Just brilliant. Here we are, we're continuing east. Colbinabbin is the place that we're at. And silo trail. Get a hold of these, right? So these just aren't pieces of art. They're actually working silos. You can see a truck removing grain into the silos. How are these incredible pictures of the olden days, steam train, old trucks, people gathered, incredible. So this is on the road between Elmore and Violet Town in central Victoria. Well, we've now made our way east, and we're in the Alpine country, in a place called Tangambalanga, and we've come to the Tambangalanga pool, and I said that wrong. 25 meters, 20 degrees. Lovely though. G'day folks, here we are in the Medamita Valley, in the beautiful northeastern corner of Victoria. We are camped here in a sort of a semi-remote spot by the river. Free camp, for those of you who love a free camp. It's March 2023, and you can have a fire here this time of year. So we're between Albury-Wodonga and Omeo, basically in the Alpine country. To our southwest is Mount Beauty and Bryant. So for those of you who are looking to get into this part in autumn, I tell you what, it's the place to be. Morning folks. Free camp, 11 k's south of Midamita. This is Snowy Creek, early morning. It's a pretty cool night, blue skies, and you can see a bit of the mist coming off the water. Beautiful spot here, quite remote, quiet, just the birds, and there's this bubbling brook of Snowy Creek. So we've come through the Midda Valley and we've come up the back of Falls Creek, up the famous steep climb in the car, and we've camped ourselves here at Raspberry Hill. Beautiful spot. And we're about to go for a bit of a ride to Falls Creek, which is shut off to Mount Beauty because of the landslide on October the 12th. We're meant to be here for the Peaks Challenge this weekend, but folks, we're camping and still enjoying the beauty of this area. Taking a bit of a drive after our ride. That's the Falls Creek ski village over there and Rocky Valley Dam, and there is Mount Cope over in the distance that way. We're at one of the high points here up in Pine Falls, and Mount Hotham's that way and Mount Feathertop's that way, and we're coming back now towards where Mount Beauty is and Mount Bogong, the highest point in this area. Perfect day, isn't it? Look at that. Early March, beautiful weather. Come down from Mount Mackay, see it in the distance. That's it there with the tower. This is the Pretty Valley Pondage. So there's a Rocky Valley Dam near Falls, the ski resort. And then there's this one here, the Pretty Valley Dam. Beautiful spot. There's actually a picnic table over there. Fantastic. Beautiful spot. We're at Watchbed Creek on the Bogong High Plains Road, but we're about to head up to Mount Nelsie. So we're going on a bit of a hike here. Beautiful Falls Creek. Okay, we've been coming up a fire track. There's Linda there. We're finally at the little sign for Mount Nelsie. Not exactly a de blam, is it? From my Everest base camp video. You can get that on YouTube at Our Backbound. So please subscribe. Well, we made it. Mount Nelsie, there's Linda in the distance, 1882 metres. I've got to say, it is underwhelming. Underwhelming. Completely underwhelming. In that direction's Falls Creek, Hotham, Mount Feathertop, Mount Bogong's that way. Mount Kosciuszko is in that direction. Check out our video, 2 Aussies summit Mount Kosciuszko. It's quite entertaining. But Mount Nelsie, you know what? You're looking for a hike to do? Nah, find something else. Go to Wallace Hut. That's much more interesting. Linda and I are back. Mount Nelsie has been summited. Unspectacular, windy, cool. It's about 11 k's round trip, which is a bit more than what the sign says. We did go off piste, that is P-I-S-T-E, just to make the walk a little bit more interesting after we summited. But let me say, if you're coming up here, there are more interesting walks. We've done them. Wallace Hut to Cope Hut, Mount Cope, Roper's Lookout. Pick them. That one, nah, not so much. It's our second night at Raspberry Hill here up at Falls Creek, and on Our Backbound we did a video on how to cook damper in a camp oven on an open fire. And so we've just had a curry. Last night we had burgers on our open fire. So who knows what Linda has done tonight? What do you got in the camp oven for dessert tonight, dear?
Surprise.
Hot cross buns, you beauty.
Compliments of Balfour's and the local IGA.
Oh, okay, a reheat. Down for another night. Another beautiful morning at Raspberry Hill and Falls Creek. Today we're going to go for a ride. I'm going to go down the back of Falls to Angler's Rest, to Omeo. Linda's going to join me for part of it, into Omeo for a cup of coffee and return. Magnificent. For the one of you ever watching this video who've done Peaks Challenge, this is the famous Trapyard Gap. Just got to the bottom of the back of Falls. Braking. Not value for hills. And Linda's come down in the car. We're going to get her e-bike. We're heading to Omeo. The old SJ Cruiser. Brakes are a bit stinky after that. It's a steep descent. Sorry I didn't get any video of it, but we're away. The Midda River on the way to Angler's Rest. Heading to Omeo for a cup of coffee. It's actually chillier here than up at 1600 metres at Raspberry Hill. Must be the valley and the shadow and coolness of the river. But it's beautiful. Coming into beautiful Angler's Rest, free camp, and an iconic stop in the Peaks Challenge. Heading towards Omeo. About 30 k's still to go to Omeo, across the wooden bridge. Okay, we've made it to Omeo. Having a cup of coffee. How was it, darling?
Great. Awesome.
Right, going well.
Very nice ride.
Going well. Now it's time to head back. Okay, Linda and I left Omeo. We are heading back towards Falls through Angler's Rest, and I think I'm going to take the big trip up the back of Falls. Monstrosity 10k's at 10%, 17% start. What cracking day for it. So here we go. Here's the signage up ahead. We're not taking the Omeo Valley. We're on the way via Angler's Rest towards Falls Creek. Rest, the return. Okay, I've come from Angler's Rest and I'm coming up to the famous WTF corner. Now in the Peaks Challenge, I've done 4 of them. You get to here and you've done 199 kilometers, 3,000 meters plus
climbing. I've only done 101 kilometers and I've done about 1,000 meters, so this should be easy. 10Ks at 10%, 17% start, nasty. Now Linda's got off, she's done 80Ks on the e-bike, she's in the FJ Cruiser. Off I go, back to camp. Okay, I'm about halfway up. The steep bit, is it hard? My goodness me, it's hard. But I don't have Mount Hotham in my legs and I don't have Tawonga Gap in my legs. So I'm going okay. But I'll be looking forward to this. Or I'll be looking forward to get to Trapyard Gap. Coming down into Trapyard Gap, if it wasn't for the landslip at Falls Creek, Mount Beauty, Bicycle Network would have been there with the cokes and the snakes for the last part of the journey for the Peaks Challenge, but there was my beautiful wife with the FJ Cruiser. Well, I made it back to camp from Raspberry Hill to Omeo and back with my beautiful wife, from WTF to Omeo and back. I've done a bit over 120, bit over 2,000 meters, bit over 5 hours. My not so peaks challenge. I'm well and truly had enough. Time for a nice coffee and a sit down. But magnificent day. Here we are at Raspberry Hill last morning. Foggy, rained all overnight, about 25 mil. Listen to that. What is that? Dogs up here in the national park? Crazy deer? Yowie? Dunno. Well folks, we've moved from Falls Creek in the fog down to sunny Mount Beauty. So this is our spot. We're on a caravan park. We actually paid for this unpowered tent site. Here it is. And how's this for a little view? So pretty good spot, eh? Worth paying for, I reckon. This is our first morning in Mount Beauty at our little camp spot by the West Kira River. Nice, eh? Pretty good spot. Linda and I have just taken a quick trip up Tawonga Gap. Mount Bogong's that way, Mount Buffalo's that way. Tawonga Gap. 895 metres above sea level on a beautiful day between Mount Beauty and Bright. So Linda and I this morning, we've gone to the Gorge Canyon walk up from Mount Beauty, and suspension bridge, not quite like the ones over the Duke Cushy on the way up to Everest Base Camp, but fun nonetheless, less intimidating. Seems like a pretty scary place. dangerous living in Australia, isn't it? At least you get plenty of warnings here. Here's the canyon here. From here on it's swim only. One year Linda jumped in, swam around the corner. She said it was freezing. I wasn't brave enough to do it. Anyway, it's a nice walk up here through the Mount Beauty Canyon. Turns out there was no flash flooding in the canyon walk. Plus, I like my swimming with lane ropes. So we're going to the Mount Beauty Swimming Centre. So here I am at the Mount Beauty pool. It's actually 25 degrees. Tangambalanga was 20 degrees. These things are sort of solar heated. And in these little regional towns, because they built pools years ago by the communities, a lot of them are 33 metres long. And this is one of them at Mount Beauty, 33 metres. Most modern pools are 50 metres or 25, but 33. So for those of you who like to count, you've got to do some interesting maths. Here we go. Linda and I have gone for a ride up the Mountain Creek Road, up here to a free camp in the Alpine National Park. Pretty good spot, lovely spot for a ride. We're making the big journey to Bright today, 27 k's, but we've stopped here at Sullivan's Lookout for lunch. Pretty good, eh? So that's now looking down at Mount Beauty, Falls Creek, and is in that direction there, and that's Mount Bogon there. The Kiwa Valley into Mount Beauty, where we've spent the last 4 days.
you can see why it's a place to be. So we've made the big journey from Mount Beauty to Bright, and we're coming to our little favourite spot at Bright. Nice little camp spot here by Dillagong Creek. How's that? Pretty good. Not the fast flowing West Kiwa River, a little bit more genteel. Well, it's a beautiful morning. We're in Harriettville, and Linda and I are gonna climb the great mountain, Mount Hotham. 30 k's of up and up. So here we go, a couple hours at least. Still a long way to go. Okay, we're 5k's in. You're mainly in the first 5k's going 5-6%. Of those of you who are cyclists, one of you who was watching, who might do this thing, but now there's this thing called the Meg. This is a nasty pinch up around the corner. Okay, we're 10k's done. Mount Hotham gives you a chance. In the middle 10k's, it's a false flat, 2 to 4%, so it feels like you're going downhill, even though you're not. So now for the next 10k. About halfway. Views are unbelievable. Hotham in the distance. That sign that says 10k's 4% cement, it's an average because there's a couple of dips here. This is the hard 10k, not because it's the last 10. That doesn't help because there's some really steep stuff on the way to Hotham. Yeah, there they are, the Towers of Hope, Mount Hotham, top of the ski fields, Hotham Village. This is the 6th time I will have climbed this mountain on a bike. Do not be deceived. There's still about 5k's to go. Now up at the top. Coming up to the top now. I hadn't seen Linda for a while. I was worried the e-bike battery was going to die on her. But there she is. Coming up to the top of Hotham now. How was it?
It's crosswinds are horrible.
Well, Linda and I have climbed up Mount Hotham, and amazing 30-kilometre climb, tough work. That's Mount Feathertop in the background over there, heading towards Falls Creek is that way, and then looking around heading towards the Omeo area, and that's the top of Mount Hotham there. You've just seen a little bit of the Hotham village where the skiing season happens. It's windy, it's magnificent. It's a great part of the world if you ever get a chance, even just to drive up here, it's spectacular. Just briefly stopped on the way down. Looking back towards right, that's Buffalo over there, and then that's Hotham, the last bit up to Hotham. So we're descending back now. Pretty windy up here on the edge. Having fun yet? No comment. Okay, you've heard enough from me. So Linda, how was climbing up Mount Hotham?
Good till the last 10 k's. I didn't like the crosswinds and it got a little bit steep, and I started to run out of battery, so I had to conserve battery, which meant using my heart battery instead, which was a bit tough.
What was the trip like down, 30 k's down?
Again, the last 20 was good. The first 10 was too steep, too windy, but the last 20 was good.
Speed demon, she is not. But we have successfully done it.
Yes.
It's a beautiful morning and bright, just out for just a little ride up to Woomelang. But a fair bit of paragliding happens around here, so you'll see this guy about to come into land early on a Sunday morning. We're in beautiful bright with all the autumn colours, and we're gonna ride through Pawpunka and then we're gonna climb up Mount Buffalo. There it is in the distance, foreboding Mount Buffalo. Well, there it is. We start 20 k's up to the chalet. Thing about Mount Buffalo is it's quite a steady 5%, but it's still 5% for 20 k's, and it's windy today, so we'll see how we go. Through the trees you might be able to see it. You ride at Mount Buffalo, and then you kind of go around it forever and come back at it. I guess that's a good thing, because I don't think I could ever climb it straight up. That's it there. Coming up to 5 k's. 15 to go. Okay, we've just finished halfway, 10 Ks. There's a bit of a false flat at about the 8K mark. False flat, AKA 2 to 4%. It's uphill but feels like downhill. Anyway, onward. G'day. How are ya? Good. Good on ya. Okay, just knocked off, waited for the car, see how they go, whether they respect the cyclist here. Just knocked off 15, 5 to go. Big switchback, just on the long straight stretch. This is called McKinnon's Corner. When we switch back now up to the top to the chalet. So back and forth. The last bit we just did is a straight stretch, not really, it's kinks stuff. Here we go. Sounds ominous. Nearly there. Here we are, coming up to the chalet now. The famous old Mount Buffalo chalet, 1337. Okay, we've completed it. How's it feeling, dear?
Awesome.
How was it, 20 Ks at 5%?
Good. With the battery, which is nearly dead, but I'll get home again.
Well, here it is, beautiful Mount Buffalo. It's actually got a glassed, which I don't handle very well, sorry. And I don't handle the edges at all well, but here you go. That's from Mount Buffalo, and it's rocky cliffs looking towards, that's looking towards Port Punkett and Bright that way, and you're looking towards Myrtleford that way, and that's the Ovens Valley. Magnificent, isn't it? Look at that. And for those of you who like to look down, there it is. Ooh. So it's going to be quite a fun descent. Gone on a little from the chalet, and when you get up here at Mount Buffalo, it's actually a bit of a plateau, and there's this lake here, and beyond that lake there's actually a campground here in the national park, an amazing spot to camp. So it's at about 1,300 meters up here. So, but of course, it's up in the mountains up here in Victoria. Anything can happen. It's spectacular. Up here in the national park, there's quite a few little features. Different rocky outcrops, trails, tracks, hiking paths, and Torpedo Rock. Oh, this might be the end of the line for us. We've come up Buffalo, we've come as far as the Dingo Dell Day visitor area. Not that there's anyone visiting in the day today. But time for the big descent all the way back down to Port Punker and Brock. Well, we've made it back to Bright. We've completed Buffalo. Here's the Ovens River at Bright. Really fantastic spot. Water park for kids. This is where the Morses Creek runs into the Ovens River. Morses Creek is where we've been camping on. So here's the Ovens. We're going to do that thing where you go and stand in the water. Buffalo's done. We've also conquered Tawonga, Backer Falls, Mount Hotham, Buffalo. The highest mountains for road cyclists in Victoria. Sadly, our time at Bright and the Morse Creek is coming to an end. It's time to head west, back towards South Australia. It's been awesome. Well, Linda and I have left Bright this morning. Stopped in for a quick swim at the Myrtleford Pool, but we've come through Glenrowan. This is a famous Australian town because there was a bush ranger, a fella called Ned Kelly, who felt an injustice about how his family was treated by the authorities, the police, and he came to this town and he had this shootout with the police. And so here we have this amazing artwork in Glenrowan telling his story. In the end, he was caught and he was hanged for his crimes. Not 26 years old. Today, Glenrowan's made a whole tourist industry out of the Kelly story. And there is this reenactment museum and theatre that you can enjoy here with Ned Kelly's last stand. And so if you're curious about the Kelly story, just Google it. It's one of those iconic Australian stories, particularly here in Victoria. Linda and I are now on the way home, our last night, and we are at Woomelang, which is a little wheat town in farming community in Western Victoria. And they're between two bigger towns, Hotham and Sea Lake. But what they've done is they've created a free camp. So nice grassy tent spot with a toilet and shower. The toilet is bigger than 3 offices and shower. So I'll quickly show you the facilities. This is a free camp. And so into here, toilet, shower, the whole thing. It's fantastic. And a water station here. And you can see there's some people with their caravans. There's even access to power. Linda and I don't need power, of course, but beautiful spot here in Woomelang. It's obviously got popular because we were here last year, had an amazing storm and an incredible rainbow, and there was no one here but us. But there's also some silo art, so I might show you a little bit about that as well. So trying to get people into their town, we're going to go and eat at the general store, get a burger there tonight. It's getting people to come through and the tourists to come through into their town. So great idea. Everyone wins. So I've had a bit of a walk around the Woomelang Silo Art Trail. Ended up here at the general store, cafe, takeaway, shop. Got ourselves, spent some money, burger and chips in front of the Inland Carpet Python. Your beauty. We've headed out of Woomelang after a really foggy, misty morning, and we've come north to Lascelles. And here, as part of the Silo Art Trail, is this piece of work. On the tall silos, that is Jeff Horman. He and his wife Marilyn are the features of this incredible artwork. Imagine doing that. What's required to do that? But that's Jeff, a local farming couple from this area, 4 generations. And then I'll show you Marilyn as well. So we're finishing up our tour across Victoria. 2 Aussies explore Victoria and cycle its highest mountains. We're finishing in the northwest corner of Victoria, in the Mallee region on the edge of the Wiperfield National Park before we head home to South Australia. And here in Patchywallock, our final bit of silo art. There's so much more of it through the Mallee, but it's Nick Noodle Holland, a local farmer. We hope you've enjoyed our trip across from the west to the east of Victoria. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.